Before microscopes, before antibiotics, before anyone knew that invisible organisms could live on skin, in water, in blood, and in breath, disease was a haunting. It arrived without warning. A fever in one house, a cough in a crowded street, a rash on the body of a soldier returning from war. Then, the city changed. Doors stayed shut, temples filled with desperate people, funeral fires burned day and night. Physicians became patients. Families abandoned the sick. Priests ran out of answers. To the ancient world, disease was not biology. It was punishment, a curse, a demon in the blood, the anger of the gods made flesh. But the truth was even more terrifying. The enemy was real. It was inside them, and they could not see it. Athens, 430 BCE. The greatest city in the Greek world was packed behind its walls. Outside, Sparta and its allies marched through the countryside. The Peloponnesian War had begun. Athens had chosen a strategy of survival. Abandon the farms, retreat behind the long walls, and let the navy keep the city supplied by sea. It made military sense. It was also a perfect trap. Thousands of refugees crowded into Athens. People slept in temples, alleys, huts, and courtyards. Animals lived beside families. Waste gathered. Water sources strained. Food moved through the port. So did sailors, merchants, soldiers, and something else.
In the summer of 430 BCE, a disease entered Athens through the port of Piraeus. At first, it was just rumors. A strange fever, red eyes, a burning throat, violent coughing, a body too hot to touch. Then the rumors became bodies.
Why is my skin burning?
The priest is coming. Hold on.
One man watched the disaster with unusual clarity. Thucydides, the historian of the Peloponnesian War, became sick himself and survived. He wrote down what he saw. Not as myth, not as divine judgment, but as observation. He described people suddenly seized by intense heat in the head, eyes inflamed, throats bleeding, breath foul, vomiting, convulsions, ulcers, diarrhea, thirst so extreme that people threw themselves into wells. The disease moved through the city faster than fear could explain it.
I have touched too many of them.
Doctors were among the first to die because they were the first to approach the sick. To modern historians, the exact disease remains uncertain. Typhus, smallpox, measles, Ebola-like hemorrhagic fever, a lost pathogen, something we may never identify. But the symptoms tell us something important. This was not merely a medical event. It was a social collapse. As the plague spread, Athens began to lose more than citizens. It lost rules. When death becomes common, the future becomes imaginary. People stopped saving money, stopped obeying customs, stopped caring about reputation. Some became reckless, others became cruel. Bodies were left unburied, an unthinkable horror in Greek culture. The temples filled with corpses, but gods were silent.
Are the gods punishing us?
Pray harder.
But prayer did not stop transmission. Crowding did not stop transmission. War did not stop transmission. Denial did not stop transmission. Inside each body, a microscopic catastrophe was unfolding. When a dangerous pathogen enters the body, the immune system doesn't politely ask it to leave. It attacks. Cells release alarm signals, blood vessels widen, heat rises. Immune cells flood the tissue. fever turns the body into hostile territory. Most of the time, this saves you. But if the immune response spirals out of control, the body becomes a battlefield with no safe side. A cytokine cascade can turn defense into destruction. Blood vessels leak, organs swell, clotting fails, the lungs fill, the gut breaks down. The body, trying to survive, begins to damage itself.
What is wrong with me? You will live. You have to.
The plague killed tens of thousands. It struck civilians, soldiers, leaders, and eventually Pericles himself, the statesman who had shaped Athenian power. Athens survived, but it was changed. The city that had argued about democracy, empire, art, law, and philosophy now had to argue with grief. Disease did not single-handedly destroy Athens. History is rarely that simple. But it weakened Athens at the worst possible moment. It broke confidence, it killed leaders, it damaged morale. It turned a war of strategy into a war of endurance. And it revealed something empires hate to admit. A civilization can be brilliant, wealthy, and powerful, and still be made of bodies. Six centuries later, another empire believed itself eternal: Rome. By the 2nd century CE, Rome stretched from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Syria. Its roads cut across continents, its ships crossed the Mediterranean, its armies moved with astonishing discipline. Rome had built one of the most connected worlds humanity had ever seen. That connection made it powerful and vulnerable. Around 165 CE, Roman soldiers returned from campaigns in the east. With them came a disease. It spread through military camps, cities, ports, and provinces. It reached Rome itself. It killed ordinary people and nobles. It may have killed an emperor. Today, we call it the Antonine Plague. It may have been smallpox. Some historians suspect measles. The ancient evidence is incomplete. But whatever it was, Rome had never seen anything like it.
My throat is fire. Keep walking. Rome is close.
One of the greatest physicians of the ancient world lived through this plague: Galen. He was brilliant for his time, a physician, anatomist, philosopher, and careful observer. His ideas would shape medicine for more than 1,000 years. But Galen did not know about viruses. No one did. Roman medicine was built on theories of balance: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. Health was harmony. Disease was imbalance. Treatments included diet, rest, herbal remedies, bathing, surgery, and bloodletting. Some helped, some did nothing, some made things worse. This is one of the darkest truths in the history of medicine. You can be intelligent, observant, and compassionate, and still be trapped inside the wrong model of reality.
Are the gods punishing us?
If the Antonine Plague was smallpox, the horror inside the body was precise. A virus enters through breath or contact. It infects cells in the throat and lungs. It travels to lymph nodes. It multiplies quietly. Then it spills into the bloodstream. For days, the person may not understand what is happening. Then fever arrives. Pain, exhaustion, vomiting, rash. The skin becomes a map of infection. A rash is not just a surface problem. It is a visible message from a war happening underneath. The immune system attacks infected cells, fluid gathers, tissue swells, the body marks its own battlefield. In severe cases, infection can trigger overwhelming inflammation, organ stress, secondary infections, and death.
Do not let the children near me. They need their mother. Then keep them alive.
An empire is like a body. Roads are arteries, cities are organs, armies are immune cells, grain fleets are nutrients, messages are nerve signals, and disease exploits connection. The same roads that move soldiers can move infection. The same ships that bring grain can bring fever. The same cities that concentrate wealth can concentrate death. Rome's strength became a transmission network. The Antonine Plague did not instantly destroy Rome, but it wounded it. It reduced the population, weakened the army, disrupted trade, strained taxation, damaged confidence. And at the edge of the empire, enemies kept pressing. Rome endured. But endurance is not immunity. (249 CE). Less than a century later, another plague came. Around 249 CE, during a time of crisis, civil war, invasion, inflation, and religious tension, disease returned to the Roman world. We call it the Plague of Cyprian, named after Cyprian, the bishop of Carthage, who described its terror. The symptoms were horrifying. Fever, weakness, vomiting, diarrhea, bleeding, loss of hearing or sight, feet and limbs damaged by disease. Again, the exact pathogen is uncertain. Some have suggested a viral hemorrhagic fever. Others propose severe smallpox, measles, influenza, or another unknown infection. But to the people living through it, the name did not matter. The world was coming apart. In a world without germ theory, every act of care was also an act of danger.
Is this death?
To help the sick was to approach the invisible. To bury the dead was to risk joining them. To flee was to carry the disease somewhere else. Ancient people were not foolish. They were trying to explain terror with the tools they had. If a disease came from nowhere, passed through families, ignored prayers, killed the strong and weak together, and left no visible attacker, then demons made sense. Angry gods made sense. Curses made sense. A wrong explanation can still feel emotionally true. Because disease does behave like a haunting. It enters unseen. It changes the familiar body into something strange. It turns loved ones into sources of danger. It makes the air suspicious. But there was no demon in the room. There was transmission. There were particles on hands, droplets in breath, contaminated water, crowded homes, weak bodies, hungry cities, armies moving across the world. The monster was real, but it was not supernatural. It was natural. That made it more dangerous. Rome was not helpless. The Roman world had public baths, sewers, aqueducts, military hospitals, surgical tools, medical texts, and professional physicians. Compared with many societies, Roman healthcare could be organized and practical. But public health is not only buildings, it is knowledge. And Rome lacked the key. No germ theory, no vaccination, no antibiotics, no antivirals, no intensive care, no understanding of asymptomatic spread, no way to identify a virus. They could treat pain, clean wounds, set bones, drain abscesses, offer rest and care. But against epidemic disease, they were fighting a war in the dark.
I know the fever. I know the rash. I know the smell of death. But I do not know the thing itself.
Disease rarely destroys a civilization by itself. Empires fall from many wounds: war, hunger, corruption, bad leadership, climate, economic strain, invasion, inequality, fear. But disease finds the cracks. It enters through crowding. It feeds on movement. It punishes poor sanitation. It exploits war. It magnifies distrust. It turns inequality into mortality. A plague is not only a pathogen. It is a test of bodies, of governments, of beliefs, of compassion, of whether a society can still function when death becomes ordinary. Athens was tested during war. Rome was tested by connection, and both discovered the same truth. The smallest things can change the fate of the largest. History often remembers plagues in numbers. A third of the city, millions dead, an empire weakened, a war changed. But no one dies as a statistic. They die as someone's father, someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone who had plans for the next morning.
Do not be afraid.
I am afraid.
So am I.
This is what disease does. It turns biology into grief. The people of Athens and Rome could not see microbes, but microbes could shape them. They could alter elections, change wars, kill emperors, break armies, rewrite religions, reshape economies, and leave historians centuries later trying to identify the killer from symptoms written on fragile pages. The ancient world looked at plague and saw divine anger. We look back and see epidemiology. But the fear is familiar. A new disease appears. The first reports are confusing. Experts disagree. Rumors spread. People search for someone to blame. The sick wonder if they will survive. The past is not as distant as it looks. Classical civilization gave us philosophy, law, literature, architecture, medicine, politics, empire. But beneath all of it was a fragile biological truth. Every army was made of lungs. Every city was made of skin. Every empire was made of cells. The ancient plagues remind us that history is not only written by kings and generals, it is written by fever, by breath, by blood, by the invisible life that shares the world with us. Athens thought its walls would protect it. Rome thought its roads would unite the world. Both were partly right, and both were wrong. Sometimes the thing that enters through the gate is too small to see.